Hi guys, I'm the Ember. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this cool game controller scene. So let's get straight into it. So if you don't already have Blender installed, I'm going to have a link up here to my first video where I show you how to download and install Blender. So if you don't know what button I'm pressing, you can look down here and it will show you. So AX to delete everything. Then we're going to go to Edit, Preferences, and Add-ons. And you're going to make sure that Import Export Scalable Vector Graphics is checked. So make sure that's checked. And then we're going to press F4, Import Scalable Vector Graphics. So I'm going to have a link in the description to a website where I got this image from. It's free and has a bunch of images. So you're going to select your image and import. But where is it? At the moment it's super tiny. So we're just going to zoom in heaps and you'll see it there. So select it, zoom out. And then we're going to do S200. And then we're going to go to side view by pressing the X on the gizmo. Then R minus 90. Move it up on the Z axis by pressing GZ. And then go to front view by pressing the Y, GX to move that to the middle. But this little orange dot is called the object origin. So at the moment when you rotate, it will rotate around the object origin. And if you scale, it will rotate around that. So we want that to be in the middle. So we're going to select it, right click, set origin, origin to geometry. Now it scales and rotates from the middle. Okay, so we're going to go to the curve icon and we're going to go to geometry. We're going to change the extrude to 0.001. So at the moment, this object is a curve. You can see up here has a little curve icon, but we want this to be a mesh. So select it and convert to mesh. Now you can see it's a mesh icon. So now we need to add a background. So we're going to do Shift A, Mesh Plane, S10 to scale 10 meters. Tab into edit mode, press 2 to go to edge select, side view by pressing the X on the gizmo. And if you hold down Control and right click, it extrudes to wherever your mouse is. So you just undo that. I'm going to do something far like over here. Probably doesn't need to be that long, but I just want to be safe. So select this edge, Command B to bevel, and roll the mouse wheel up heaps, so you have heaps of lines. And then tab out of edit mode, and then right click, shade smooth. Okay, so now we need to add a light. So Shift A, mesh, and we're going to add a plane. Go to side view, GZ, move that up. And then R minus 40. Move that in front. And S and X to scale that out a little bit. And then we'll need to add a material. So go to the material properties. Click new. And we're going to call this light. And we're going to change principled BSDF to emission. We're going to change the strength to 6. Okay. So we're going to go up to the top right corner, and once you see this plus icon, then you're going to click and drag to drag across a new window. Then we're going to go to render view. By default, the render engine is set to Eevee, so we want to go to the camera icon and change this to cycles. Okay, so now you can see the light is shining. Before we add a material, we're going to add a camera. So Shift A, camera. And then we need to set this camera as the active object. So we're going to go view, cameras, set active object as camera. And then we're just going to go out of that. And over in the rendered view, we're going to go to front view. And we're going to go up the top, scroll across to view, and then align view, align active camera to view. We're going to go to top view by pressing the Z on the gizmo. And then we're going to position this, so GZ to move up and down, GY to move closer, GZ, just position this to how you want. At the moment I think the game controller is floating a little bit too high, so I'm going to move this down a little bit by doing G then Z. To about there I think is good. And while we're moving the game controller around, we're going to do R, Z, and just rotate this about minus 35 degrees. Okay, so now we're going to keep lining up the camera. So go back to camera view in rendered view over here. So view, and then cameras, and then active camera. So I'm just going to move this into position. So at the moment, the camera is a rectangle. We want that to be a square. So go to the printer icon and change 1920 to 1080. And now it's a square. And you might have to reposition it. So I'm just going to reposition this. That looks pretty good. Now, I saw something in the camera. If you go to camera view. So under the escape key, there's a button called the tilde key. If you hold that down and then you can go hold your mouse over view camera and then let go of the tilde key, it will go into camera view. So I noticed up here the corner is going out of the back a little bit. So we're going to need to scale the back up a little bit. So select the back, go into edit mode. Select the top, I'm going to just scale. There we go. That's good. Okay, so now we're going to add a material to the game controller. So if you move the timeline up a bit, and you can press T to get rid of these side panels, and also if you scroll across you can get rid of the overlays by pressing those two buttons. Okay. So we're going to change the timeline to the shader editor. And at the moment, this has a material called SVG matte. We don't want that material, so we're going to click the X to get rid of it. Press N to get rid of this side panel too. Then we're going to click new material, and we're going to call it game. So just delete the principled BSDF. Okay, so Shift A. And we're just going to type in mix, add a mix shader, and connect the shader to the surface. We're going to change the FAC to 0.770. Okay, so now we need to add a glossy and a diffuse. I'm going to connect the glossy to the mix shader and the diffuse to the mix shader. And we're also going to change the roughness on the glossy to 0.1 and change the glossy to a blue color and change the diffuse to a blue color. So that gives us a pretty good plastic shader. So now all we have to do is render it. Okay, so you want to make sure that it's set to PNG. So go over to the printer icon. Then make sure the file format is set to PNG, and all we're going to do is we're going to go up to render and render image. So this is probably going to take a while to render. I'll be back with you when it's done. So mine's done rendering. Now to save it, I'm going to go up to image, save as, and then you can just save this to a good spot. I'm going to call it gamepad and then save as. Thank you for watching. I hope you had fun, and I'll see you in the next one.